What's good, family? It's your boy Old Soul J, and I'm back with another video. You have to trust your higher self. You have to trust your intuition. Now, the higher self term, not everyone is familiar with it. Most people are familiar with the term intuition. And understand, your intuition is literally your higher self giving you insight or trying to guide you. And sometimes we don't fully understand why, where it's trying to guide us, or the reason that it is pushing us to make certain decisions. See, there's so much correlation between the higher self and God, and people get this misconstrued when I say that we're all one, we're all connected, we're all a piece of God. Your true self on a higher spectrum is God. See, I emphasize higher spectrum because understand this human experience is temporary, but while we're in this human experience, we are limited, and that's for a reason. It's for the experience. If you're something that has everything, you are everything, anything that you can ever think of is you, is yours, whatever, at the blink of an eye, as soon as you could think of it, what more can you want? Maybe go through an experience where you don't remember who you are, you're limited, you're mortal, but you have the potential to actually gain some of that power in the experience. If you have everything already, there's no other mountain to climb. So why not forget and redo it all over again? So understand, if you ever hear a person, sometimes people get this misconstrued. If you ever hear a person say, you are God, we are God. On a higher plane, you are. But it is systematically, purposely, this experience was systematically created for us to not be able to tap into that power completely. And even if you can tap into some of it, that alone is still a very challenging thing. So in a sense, in this experience that you're experiencing right now, this identity, this character that you're in, this ego that you're in, you're not. So I don't want people to get that misconstrued. I just try to get people to understand the oneness of everything and how we're experiencing part of the everything. You are parts of the everything that you originally come from. But you cannot let that get to your head because you're limited. Simple. You're having a human experience. The human experience is supposed to be a human experience until it's not. You're still a human being. So I don't mean to undermine the higher powers, because the Most High, the Creator, still exists above your comprehension, above my comprehension, above all our comprehensions. Now that's hard for people to fathom what I'm saying, but that's the best way I could put it. Now, understand this. If there's a creator, if there's a God, do you really think this one planet Earth and the beings on this earth and the beings that you know about is all that actually exists? Don't be silly. Of course there are different realities, different species. Yeah, I don't even want to get into the extraterrestrial alien talk because, you know, that's a big conversation. Is even the government recently, and also remember, government literally means govern your mental. They're here to control you mentally. Let me throw that out there as well. But they even recently admitted that there are UFOs. UFOs are real, and there's one big mothership coming in the next few years, like on its way or something like that, right? This has been something my whole life, and before I've been born, that people have known. Like, it's kind of like, it doesn't even make sense how extraterrestrials wouldn't be real. But my point is, that alone, right? If the creator is all powerful and you're so limited as a human, do you think that the creator would also only create this level of dimension? You don't think there are beings, and I'm not talking about extraterrestrials, I'm talking about more of like your higher self. I'm talking more of like what people would say angels or other gods, right? Just deities or beings, ascended masters on higher planes of dimensions. Because like, even like for the fourth dimension, if you ever been to the fourth dimension, like lucid dream, astral projected, you already know that's a higher dimension than this dimension here. You don't think there's anything higher than that? There's people that talk about the fifth dimension, which is described to be just like heaven. That's where the concept of heaven comes from, if you ask me. And the lower dimensions below this is where the concept of hell comes from, if you ask me. But our consciousness, it depends on where your consciousness is at to be able to match with that frequency. That's why they say you create your reality, because your reality, the frequency of the reality or the dimension you're on, has to be at a certain level to be able for you to be at a certain dimension, right? So if the creator is all the way at the top, of course there are things in between. And if we're connected to that creator, of course there are beings and energies in between the creator that still connect to you and the creator as well. This is what we mean by the higher self. A higher version of your soul that is closer to the creator might not necessarily be all the way at the creator, unless we're talking about the highest self. but it's also still you. You're just a lower version of it. That's what people mean by the higher self, and that's where your intuition is coming from. Now you have to understand that your higher self is experiencing this as well, but the experience, you take on the full experience back to when you pass on from this life. That's why it seems like you're only experiencing this lifetime alone until you start to open your third eye, and then you start to be able to see into the fourth dimension where you start seeing spirits and auras. You start lucid dreaming more. Your dreams start to feel more real as this life, right? Then reality starts to seem weird. All of this wouldn't be extraordinary experiences if you already remembered where you came from, because you already would know it and be used to it already. That's part of the experience as well. But once you start doing those type of things, you start to see like, oh, wait, there's actually more to life than I was taught. Big secret, right? And that most people will never get to experience that, at least in this lifetime. But in another lifetime, they will. And like I said, we're all one, so it's okay. We're all good at the end of the day. We're good. Don't worry. Time is an illusion. This is infinality. Like, we have forever to figure it out. Every soul who makes mistakes, every being that goes, listen, especially as humans, because we're here to live and experience limits and not knowing who we are, being prone and likely to make mistakes. You learn from that no matter how immortal and infinite your soul has been through or is. So we're all gonna get it right eventually, right? We have forever. There's no rush. But, you know, there's older souls and there's younger souls. So some people, the thing is about your intuition is that your intuition understands better, or your higher self, aka, right, understands better than the human egotistical mind understands of how you need to navigate, what you need to do, what decisions you need to make better in order for you to either walk the path you're meant to walk, what your higher self wants to walk, fulfill your purpose, what will fulfill you, or is able to see things to protect you from that you may not be able to see right away because we're limited. So there's been many times in my life where my emotions, right, this is what makes it challenging, is sometimes your emotions don't necessarily agree, especially when you're very in tune with your higher self, you're very in touch with your intuition, you have a clear understanding of what is best for you in the long term, but in the moment, it might be hard for you to do. This is why they talk about a tower moment where you have to go through dark times sometimes to get to the light, or you have to take a leap of faith, because sometimes, you know, they describe it sometimes as you jumping off a cliff and the universe catching you. Because at first, it's hard for you to see where this leads, or you might just have a fear-based belief holding you back from making a decision that you actually want to make. Like sometimes we want to do something, but we don't do it specifically based off of a fear of something. That holds you back. You have to learn how to be fearless, because the unknown is a scary thing naturally to the egotistical mind, and we always have the ego with us. The ego is always going to be with you as long as you are a human being. As long as you're in the human experience, the ego will always be there. You just got to be able to know when it's your ego talking and when it's your higher self talking. So when you're not able to tell, it's hard for you to make the right decisions for yourself, or not even just being able to tell, because sometimes you'll be able to tell, but you also still got to you still got to fight the human urge and be disciplined, because at the end of the day, you're still going to have human urges. The flesh is still going to be the flesh, right? You're still in the body has desires. The ego has desires, but the ego also likes to be comfortable. The ego doesn't like fear, right? The human self is afraid of things that doesn't make sense to them. It's a lot easier to take the route where you mentally believe is secure when what you truly want might not seem so secure in the beginning. But this is key, being able to fully tap into your higher self, because when you fully tap in, you become more present. When you learn how to separate the consciousness outside of the matrix, or separate it from the matrix, separate it from the ego, it will be easier for you to tell when your intuition is pushing you, when your higher self is speaking to you or through you, and go on the path that your intuition is guiding to, which might seem scary at first. But part of your journey, especially if you are an awakened being, is to trust your intuition, is to trust your higher self, is to know yourself, find your purpose, walk on that path, follow your passions, because that's what you came here to do. But that's all I gotta say for today, y'all. Make sure y'all like and subscribe. I love y'all.